Okay, some agriculture in Latin. The material, fifth declension, if it's robora, which where it's robust strength, if it's oaken, so if you've got oak wood, by one fabricator or workman, it ought to be able to be dolare, chipped away, cut down. Ad ungum's a bit of a phrase, it means exactly, it literally means to a fingernail. You can do 20 square feet of oak wood by one person. This is one vehicle load, one wagon load. Now, moreover, if it's pine, 5 and 20 feet in the equally amount of time can be expedited or done easily or something by one man again. So pine's 25, oak's 20 square feet, which is called a vehicle load or wagon load of pine. Not less with ulmus and fraxinus, elm and some other type of wood, 30 feet. Cypress, which is also a type of pine, now it can be 40 feet. So each of these wooden regions or forests of wood have got a different amount you can do in a day. Then even 60 feet for abbeys and poplar. It's pretty similar in English and Latin. So we had like fir wood and I think that's ash or something. By a single operator on a single load. These can be squared again. This wood can be squared off, made square. Again, ad ungum, which just means exactly. Okay, so all these measurements are similarly called vihes, loads, appellator. So you got elm, ash, fir wood, and poplar trees. Even in these days, the mature lambs, early lambs, and the rest of the fetus is things that have been birthed, the rest of the flock animals of the birth, and not less even the bigger major quadrupeds, they ought to be signaroed with a character, branded with a mark. Calends of Feb, first day of Feb, the fittest begins. It's one of these star signs again, the lyre, the instrument with strings, the eastern wind, and sometimes the auster, the southern wind, with grandanine, hail. The third, the nones of February, 3 days before the nones of February, all the star sign of fitters has been, and the lion, it's halfway sets. Chorus is another wind, I think that's something in the northwest, and September is the north, and sometimes the west, Favonius again. 5th of February, the nones of February, the middle part of Aquarius rises. The Tempestus weather's ventosa, it's windy. 7th of days before the Ides of February. Callisto the star sets. Apparently it's part of the Bear Formation turns into Callisto, if I get that right. The Favoni, western winds begin to aspirate and perspire. Maybe that's where we get that word in English. Aspirate means breathing in English, so you can think of that. Whatever this is of February, weather's windy. This day here of February, the Eurus, another eastern wind. Okay, bit of dictionary work. Perspiro, we have spiro, so because sweat spiros or breathes through the skin. Where did you get that? Vihis is a load of a cart or a cart load, a unit of measure or volume. Click on that. What do we got? Vihis is the nominative, vhem, etc. Third declension female. And back to the plot. Through these days, maritime places and pratas, fields that are hot and dry, or fields or lands, they're purged, cleaned, and submitted for growing hay. The remaining parts of the vineyard, where the wine is, on account of winter or frost, which have been omitted or haven't been done yet, now's the time for putting the stakes and tying them up. Lest afterwards the gemming buds swell up and are harmed, and the eyes of the vine worn off or broken off. Item. Likewise, adverb, the fossios, from digging and trenches. So the digging of vines in the same places, which we saw were dry, they must be perigended, completed. And or of the trees, the putatios, we saw amputate and cutting, pruning of these trees. You must finish the tying of them. So I guess you use these trees and stakes, you can tie your vines to them, of which there's not possible to be certain of the right times or the just times to do that, so it's a bit vague. So we're in February, so between the non-azonides of February, the 5th and the 9th, the seminaries, seed beds of fruit trees must be facended, done, and the mature plants as they grow from the seminaries must be transferred into scrobes. They're ditches or the hole you dig to put plants in. 17. Pastination. That's when we overturn clods of earth and you dig a trench. This also, which was in the month of December or began in January, right now must be incluended. So finish off that and sow it with vines. Dig up the trench, put vines in it. I don't really know how vines are grown, but anyway. However, moreover, or now, pastinata. Okay, so this is information. A yugara thus of land is tranched as accustomly is done to an altitude or depth of 3 feet. It is dug by 80 people doing their daily work, or into the altitude depth. Got some coins here. 2.5, so it'd be 2.5 feet, with 40 operators or workmen, or 2 bipedalium. You can tell from by it's 2, so it's double-headed hoe or something, which is the altitude of 2 feet with quadriginta, people working, 40. So depending if you've got, how many people was it up here? 80 or 50 or 40 people, that's how deep you're going to have to dig it. This, nevertheless, or now or something, in dry land, for sowing your circulus, your little shoots, is the minimal measurement of this pastination or trenching, is the last one. So that's the minimal depth. When you want to place in hollers of vegetables and greens, is able to half a foot of altitude is satisfactory, which generally in a single yugara can be completed with only 30 people. In this same time, part of your stercor, your manure, must be geranded into the fields. Part of your olives and the rest of your trees should be spargended into, sprinkled around. Why even the venaria, that's the wine, diligently should be done, and your whatever a malleolus is, some type of plant, quam curissime. It's a superlative of quam, so as careful as you can do it, you pagendus it. So you plant it or whatever you have to do with a malleolus. The poplars and the willows and the ash trees, prior than them fronding, putting out leaves, and plants of the elm. Now it is utile or useful to place them before they're sown, sartis, and now to exputare, another pruning, and to dig around them, circumfodere, and the summit of these plants, there's to amputate and prune again the summer roots of the highest ones. Sarmenta, usually that's twigs and even firewood from the vines, which we're not yet with their diggings around it and their trees that support them and branches and briars. This is where you get sharp points on your little brambles, etc. Move them from your crops, and in short, whatever quid is lying around, which easily is able to impede someone digging or striving to do some other type of thing to the ground or other work to the ground. Okay, so another dictionary moment. Malleolus, as you know, is a mallet or hammer, but so it's diminutive. It's a hammer-shaped slip, a mallet shoot for planting. Okay, there you go. Piney mentioned it as well. Okay, back to the plot. Where the hell was I? Somewhere down here. Now these should be done, and you ought to apply this brushwood to your hedges. Hopefully they won't catch on fire. Now you can sow new roses or curate some old ones. I don't know what the knitted bit there is, but these are reeds, haruns or reeds. Now you can place them or even cultivate, do something to the older ones. Make some, here's willows again. I guess it's a group of willows. Now you can either chop around them or do some raking or digging. Seeds of Organista, some green plant, or with plants, you can trench around them or even place a bit of a sulcus, a rut type thing there.